I know they're all pieces of shit, completely run by their donors in one respect or another. No matter which party they're in, they're really the same party. But I'm going to objectively examine all the horrors that they've brought upon their states, as well as maybe some of the good things they've done. So let's start alphabetically by state. We're going to start with Kay Ivey, governor of Alabama. Alabama, the incest state, aka. And everybody seems to agree that that's a fair. Even Alabamians are like, "Yep, there's a lot of that here." There's a lot of that everywhere in the country, but I think Alabama has come to personify sleeping with your genetic offspring, or what do you call it, your kin, more than any other state. We're not going to go through the history of these people or how they came. I don't give a shit. We're just going to be looking purely at their policy decisions, which ultimately impact a lot of people's lives. So you cannot remove the Confederate monuments. Well, that's actually fucking stupid, because what if the people, God forbid, suddenly don't want those monuments there? It's like, what are you going to do? Deny them that? What if it's 40 years from now? That's just going to get turned over completely over time. I mean, it's Alabama, so... But still, more bullshit. Bill banning crossover voting, the practice of casting a ballot in one primary election and casting a ballot in the other parties. Again, more government voting rights, restrictions, total bullshit. A bill allowing faith-based adoption agencies to refuse to place children with gay couples. Fuck off. Well, they have... Like, if you're doing it just because they're gay, then that's fucking stupid. And that makes no sense. Whether or not a person is gay has nothing to do with whether or not they'd be a good parent. In fact, straight parents are like, historically, almost all of the parents who are shitty and abusive have been straight parents historically. I mean, this is a new thing, and you're just making a blanket statement about these people. Fuck this cunt. Hey, but no COVID restrictions at least, so... There's your little tidbit of freedom. Yeah, nothing good about Alabama, but that's to be expected. Up next, Alaska, we got Mike Dunleavy. Don't exercise line item veto authority to make cuts of $433 million. There was a recall attempt on him. Interesting. Has to do with the budget cuts. Cuts to public assistance, education, and the University of Alaska. Okay, so this guy is just... Yeah, so people want money from the state, and they're not getting it, and I assume it's going to somebody, but not the people who elected him. So, yeah, fuck, recall his ass. Recall? I think every governor should be recalled. Every single recall is justified. If there's a recall in your state, just get it over with, man. Like, who cares who the next guy is? Just get rid of these fucking disposable hacks. Who's this fucking smug-looking prick? This is Doug Ducey, American businessman and governor of Arizona. Previously CEO of Cold Stone Creamery. Okay. I've delivered it. I heard it sucks shit. What did he do? Signed a major school voucher expansion bill. Privatized schools, I'm assuming. Forces doctors to treat babies born alive during abortions or induced early deliveries. What? These Republicans are obsessed with fetuses, man. I don't get it. Like, I know a lot of people supposedly care, but it's so pointless. Like, how are you gonna regulate this shit? Requires that all Arizona students pass a basic civics test before graduating from high school. Okay, whatever that means. What the fuck? Like, Arizona has civics. I'm not sure how it is in Arizona. The education system in this country is fucked because it really varies by... You have all the different state and localities, and then you have the private schools, which are separate from those. So you really have, nobody's on the same track in terms of the education system. Yeah, Ducey said he had no interest in removing Confederate monuments from public lands in Arizona. Are there even any Confederate monuments in Arizona? Like, LGBT rights and same-sex marriage, yeah, he posed that until blah, blah, oh, I guess it's okay, blah, blah, blah. It's just the same shit as, who cares? He opposed legalizing cannabis, but it got passed anyway, so yay, fuck you. Arizona got legalized weed anyway, which is good. Uh, and and I believe he is one of those governors who's just like, we're not going to allow masking or businesses to enforce. Which, it is probably a good thing that you have that government regulation, because it's like the government regulation over people's bodies, as much as Republicans are hypocrites on that issue in regards to abortion, for some reason they understand that the popular position among most Americans is like, we don't want to be forced to do anything medically, so therefore we're not going to enforce anything. And in fact, we're going to enforce in the opposite direction, where it's like schools can't even require, because it's masking kids it is child abuse. It just is. Like, it's soft child abuse, but it is child abuse nonetheless. And so you have to have a line there of reason, So it's one of those things that it's like government regulation is probably doing a bit of good. Arkansas, Asa Hutchinson, this is Arkansas, right? Okay, yeah, another businessman. Drug Enforcement Administration. Oh, he was administrator of the DEA. Okay, yeah, this is why I would never, ever, 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 ever live in Arkansas. Like, this is Satan's armpit right here, and this guy looks like a demon. He's just pure evil. What a piece of shit. But let's see how bad it gets. Block all Syrian refugees from entering the state. Okay, I guess you can do that. I didn't know that. You can block all of a specific race or ethnicity from entering your state. From entering your state? Get the fuck out of here. Come on. How it's completely unenforceable bullshit. Criminalize abortion in the event Roe v. Wade is overturned. Oh, shit. So Arkansas is already on that shit. Already pretty much banned abortion in the whole state. But if it was overturned, you would literally throw people in jail for having abortions. That is fucked. DNA testing on the murder weapon did not match Lionel Reed, who was convicted. So, horrible record on human rights. Maybe, I mean, let's see if it gets any worse than, like, he literally executed an innocent man who was pretty much found innocent based on DNA evidence. But he just said, yeah, just kill him. Signed into law legislation that would prohibit localities from extending civil rights protections to LGBT individuals. Again, just grossly unconstitutional and ridiculous. Oh, so he did veto a bill that would make it illegal for transgender minors to receive gender-affirming medication or surgery, calling it a vast government overreach. Hold on. So he doesn't want government involved on this issue, but the state legislature later overrode this veto. So basically, yeah, you can't get that gender-affirming shit. Minors, though. Minors, that's a touchy subject. I would actually agree with this guy that I wouldn't want to get the government involved in it in any way whatsoever. Hutchinson signs bills that prohibits businesses from requiring proof of COVID-19. I'm for that, obviously. But overall, Arkansas is looking just as dismal and as fucked up as it's always been. It's a nightmare. One of the absolute worst states in the union. Okay, this is a guy that everybody loves to hate. Gavin Newsom. He's got a long track record. Let's see what he did as governor. He was recently recalled and it failed, I believe. Yeah. Announced a failure. Yeah, that's to be expected because this guy's pretty much royalty. He's like Pelosi's nephew, I think. So he's he's untouchable. Declared a moratorium on the state's death penalty, preventing any execution in the state as long as he remained governor. Okay, that's good. Clemency pardoned 7 formerly incarcerated people, including 2 Cambodian refugees facing deportation. That's good, I guess. Less people in jail, even if it's really small number, is a good thing. Declared a state of emergency. Yeah, this is why people hate him pretty much, because all these COVID regulations are killing the economy. And it's driving a lot of people out, which might actually be the goal because California is like severely overpopulated. So it might actually be like a long-term gain for the state. They just want to make it a state of highly taxed rich motherfuckers, which, I mean, you could argue with like the beautiful landscape and the economy of California that you get what you pay for. But of course, most people don't feel that way at all because they just simply can't afford the taxes. And also, I believe this guy wants to vaccinate children too. So yeah, that's a terrorist threat right there. Also, one of these governors that stay-at-home orders. Like, yeah, okay. So yeah, this is where like in the beginning he actually did some good, but then once the pandemic hit, he just becomes a total tyrant. You see this a lot in blue states for some reason. And now we're supposed to completely forget about all the Republican incarcerations and violations of free speech and whatnot. Anything else that they did, now it's not as bad because at least they're not making you wear a mask. It's like, it's so fucking gay. Like, I'm sick of this getting fucked constantly. Reducing the cost of healthcare was the issue that Newsom campaigned on. He wanted a universal healthcare system. Of course, it's not gonna fucking happen. High-speed rail, another huge failure. But an ambitious idea. Homelessness, I mean, forget it. He's doing absolutely nothing on that front. Made zoning regulations for housing less restrictive, allowing for the construction of duplexes that were previously zoned for single-family homes. So basically, I think this is an effort to get more people into government housing, perhaps as a solution to homelessness. Maybe not. It's a very complex issue. It requires a lot of time and dedication. And so it's kind of hard to judge how he's doing on that. You have to put transgender inmates in prisons that correspond with their gender identity. Okay, fine. That's good, I guess. I mean, they're going to get... You know what's going to happen to them. And maybe it's not a good thing, but... Because think about it. Like, that's hilarious. That's hilarious to even think about. Like, but... I mean, you're going to get raped no matter what in prison. That's just a fact of life. So, supports a series of tentative water sharing agreements that would bring an end to the dispute between farmers and environmentalists. I have no idea. They do have a water crisis. They have a wildfire crisis. It's just a very poorly managed state in general. Very, not a lot of... successes on Gavin Newsom's part, a lot of tiptoeing around the big issues. Okay. Now we have Colorado, Jared Polis. Looks like a dick. Another businessman. It seems like a lot of these governors nowadays are just like, you gotta be a rich businessman now in order, like, come on, what do you... Ridiculous. First openly gay person elected governor of any state. Okay. Requires healthier meals for students. Yeah, that's good. He's basically arguing that pizza is not a vegetable because that's what Congress said. Pizza is a vegetable, which no, it's not. Like, what? Get the fuck out of here. Fully funds the Individuals with Disabilities Act. Yep, for that. Opposes the Patriot Act. That's a very good thing. Supports an open and free internet. Yes. Supports legalization of cannabis. Yeah, obviously they were the first. I think they were the first state to do that. So very, very good track record. First to accept cryptocurrency campaign donations. Interesting. Man, I kind of like this guy, actually. I don't see a lot of bad that he's done here. Colorado seems to be a really cool state. It's definitely one of my favorite states. No doubt. Okay, up next we got Ned Lamont, governor of Connecticut, Democrat. Not much to say about this state. He looks like a motherfucker from Connecticut. So, let's see. COVID-19 response, blah, blah, blah. Ended most of the state's restrictions in May. Named Connecticut the safest state during the pandemic, despite having none of these regulations, which is interesting. The economy. Annual top states for business study. Gun violence, signed 3 gun control bills, including Ethan's Law, which requires safety storing firearms in households where children are present. Okay, yeah, sure. That's just one of those make you feel better. Bans ghost guns, boo. Bans storing unlocked guns in unattended vehicles. Yeah, okay. Unattended vehicles, so you're just gonna break into a vehicle and find an unlocked gun? Like, the fuck out of here. Lamont signed into law a bill that legalizes... Oh, okay. Legalizes marijuana. Good. Signed a bill to raise the state minimum wage to 11 and then 15 by 22. Oh, hey guys, it's only one more year till we get a shitty minimum wage again. Dude, you said $15. Yeah, that was 5 years ago. What the fuck? It's like, oh, be careful what you wish for. You know, this is why the $15 campaign failed, because it was $15. What it should have been was keep the wages tied to inflation, or just say high ass wages, or, you know, more unions, constant negotiations. But when you say 15, and they're gonna give you 15, but they're gonna fuck up the rest of the economy. So lesson learned from that: don't ever name a number, because they're always gonna just have a bigger number. And that's how business is done in this country. Lamont signed to law an expansive family medical leave program. Okay, that's interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Lamont signed a bill that banned gay panic defense, a legal strategy because of unwanted... Oh, so basically, if somebody kills somebody because, like, he thought, oh, he was a queer, he was gonna hit on me or some shit, like, then that's still... Well, obviously... Yeah, if it's assault, you don't even need that law, though, because you already have laws for assault and rape and murder and all that shit. Why do you need that extra? It's just a total virtue signal, but I guess you gotta keep them busy, you know? You gotta keep these governors, make them feel like they're contributing somehow. A sweeping police reform bill requires all police officers to be equipped with body cameras, prohibits maneuvers such as chokehold, creates a statewide watchdog for police misconduct, limits a department's ability to withhold disciplinary records, and makes individual officers liable in civil lawsuit. That's actually very good. I like that. I like it. It's not perfect. You could probably think of way more things, but those are all fairly reasonable. So good job on police reform, Connecticut. sign into law, legalize online sports betting and gambling. Well, yeah. What? That's an easy one, obviously. I can't believe you would even ban that in the beginning, but personal income tax rates did not increase. Well, they shouldn't. That's good. They should go down, in fact. Income tax, you can make an argument for some taxes, but I think income tax is the main one that we want. That would help most people if we just eliminated it entirely. So I'm for that. I'm for abolishing income tax completely. No exceptions, because then you can do a corporate tax. You can start taxing businesses based on the amount of profit they make, but you should not punish individuals. And we have it completely ass backwards in this country, where instead we punish the individual, but we reward the monopoly and the monsters who are funding these campaigns. So that needs to change, clearly. State budgets, 10%. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that. So overall, governor of Connecticut, I think he's one that another surprise. Did a good job. Colorado's good. Connecticut is good for the most part. Let's look at Delaware. We got John Carney. This is the state where it's like it's just a tax haven, basically. Yeah, this guy hasn't done shit. This guy is a total NPC. So, Ron DeSantis, probably the most popular governor in the country. I won't even say probably. He definitely is the most popular governor in the country. And he's had a very mixed record, to say the least. One thing I do like what he's done is the opposing the COVID madness and letting people have freedom to breathe, shit like that, and not take the shots. That's a good thing, obviously. But he's also done some horrible shit, and we have to pay attention to that. He opposes legalizing recreational marijuana. Really no excuse for that, but that's just party line bullshit. Opposes abortion. Not surprising. But as long as he doesn't move too far to the right on that and bans it outright, then you could chalk that up to personal grievance. But that's not something the state should be involved with on any level. If you're going to remain consistent, in your ethos there. DeSantis has said that the debate on how to reduce the federal deficit, emphasize tax curtailing spending, traditional Republican shit. Regulations introduced the Let Seniors Work Act. Okay. I don't think seniors really want to work like that. I'm speculating, of course. Voted for the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Lower tax rates. I mean, Florida, they have no income tax, they have no sales tax, and as long as it stays that way, people are going to keep going there and enjoying Florida. And Florida's a weird state because there are some really, really nice parts of it, and there are some really, really shitty parts of it. And like a lot of states, actually, pretty much every state has its good and bad, but Florida, I've noticed, it's like the most stark there, I think. Out of all the states that I've been to, I haven't been to all of them, but DeSantis opposes No Child Left Behind Act. Education policy should be made at the local level. Well, obviously you don't believe that if you're going to prevent them from doing the mask and vaccination policies. You don't really believe that. I'm just saying, like, I'm for what he's doing there, but you're not. But state level, you're obviously for that. Signed 3 education bills into law. State colleges could lose funding if they were found to promote state ideology and indoctrination. Well, yeah, it's a state. It's like, but they're just going to keep raising the prices anyway, raising the tuition. So, I mean, no one wins there. I think the law should just stay out of the debate, or like what's allowed to be taught, what's allowed to be said, unless it's like direct child abuse. I don't want the government telling people what can and can't be taught. Once you start treading into that water, that's when it gets kind of ridiculous, and I think DeSantis should probably lay off. Teddy Roosevelt, conservationist, supports banning hydraulic fracturing, along with making inspections of septic tanks mandatory and stricter. Okay, good. Prohibits local governments from placing bans or restrictions on any source of electricity. It's electricity, you know? Fund the police. Yeah, you're gonna fund the police no matter what. Idiot. That's why the state exists. Like, you want to bet what percentage of state funds go to the police? It is a shit ton, no matter where you go. And it's increasing every year because the police, unlike most Americans, have very strong unions. And that's why they get all the money they want to rape and pillage wherever they want. Oh, and also the thing that actually didn't get talked about with DeSantis was he banned companies like Ben and Jerry's who oppose Israel from even doing business in the state. He banned that. Like, why? So that's an obvious free speech violation. That goes against the First Amendment. So, stick to your strengths, DeSantis, but don't get involved like that. Fuck Israel and fuck you. Up next, we have Brian Kemp, governor of Georgia, Republican. He was criticized after a data breach of over 6 million voters' personal information. Reject help from DHS to guard against Russian interference. Well, that's good. That's actually a good thing because that is a conspiracy theory bullshit. Because even if Russians were meddling in the election, we do that well enough on our own. Thank you very much. Prohibit abortions after a heartbeat. Fuck you. Republicans all across the line are wrong on this issue. Kemp signed legislation into law addressing some criticisms. Polling places cannot be changed 60 days before an election. I mean, elections, if you're going to get into that, then yeah, I don't care about that at all. Because I don't vote. Overturn the ACA. Okay. I'm not even sure if the ACA actually raised prices or if they were going to raise prices regardless. If it's like a red herring. Like the Affordable Care Act is just a MacGuffin to keep people distracted from the central issue that healthcare is too expensive. That's what I think it is, because I think the insurance mafias were going to raise the prices no matter what. They're going to keep denying people health coverage. And so the two parties have to have this kind of squabble of just, how do we do it? How do we keep the people from actually demanding universal health care, demanding that whatever solution you think is going to drive the prices down, because that should be our goal when it comes to healthcare, but the government seems hell-bent on keeping us from doing that. So stay-at-home order, he did that, but then most states by 2021 stopped that shit except dark blue states. He would back a campaign. He's a huge Trump guy, obviously, because some of these Republicans, they're very pro-Trump. Some of them are more mild in there, and I think those people are better off to just not get involved with Trump. I think Trump is a liability at this point. I would see him as a political liability because he was kind of like COVID. It's like people get all crazy and shit, and they go into a frenzy, but then the fever breaks, and then you see just what a fraud he is on every level, and how he doesn't, despite his good intentions, if you could argue he had some, I don't think he does, but some people think he does, then he's just too incompetent to do anything worthwhile, and all he is he's just a tool. He's a device for the party to rile up the base, the same way Obama is with his stupid member berry shit. But Trump even more so. People love Trump way more than they love Obama, I think. So I don't know. try and distance yourself from that guy if you're in this party, especially. I would advise you stay the fuck away from Trump, man. Just like Bernie was only became toxic once he started directly sucking Obama's dick. And so that's when people started to distance themselves and say, okay, we don't like this guy anymore. And you see the same thing happen with Trump. It's a total mirror reflection of each other. David Ige, Hawaii Democrat. This guy, I can only imagine the amount of power this guy has, because they're an island, you know, not in a small island at that. And those are, so I bet he gets a lot of freedom with travel for sure. Because I know you have to take a test to even go to Hawaii, your own fucking country. It's like, we are so free. Not a lot of information on this guy. He built a telescope. There's got to be more here. It's just his article is weak. But I know he's a tyrant, obviously, when it comes to COVID regulations, but that's par for the course at this point. Brad Little, governor of Idaho, Republican, obviously. Idaho heartbeat bill, fuck you. Oh, but it made exceptions for rape, incest, and medical emergencies. Oh my God, yeah. So we don't really believe this. That's all that says. It's like, if you're trying to save the baby's life, you would obviously let the mother die, right? Because the baby's more important. You already said that. You're already going to condemn her to a shitty life with this shitty baby. But what a fucking joke, man. Hundreds and hundreds of babies lose their lives every year in Idaho due to abortion and absolute tragedy. Oh. Yeah. I wish somebody would knock up this dork through his fucking ass pussy. See where the transgenders can come up with there, and if it can be done, if dick babies can be born. Let's see how many of these Republican governors end up begging for Planned Parenthood to come in. Because I know if I got pregnant through my dick, if I was going to have a dick baby, I would fucking kill that thing on day one and mount its head on the wall with some antlers. Dead serious. Thank God I'm not a woman. Little opposes gun control. Yep, not surprising there. It's Idaho. Bans transgender girls. Blah, blah. Just stay away. Come on. It's transgender. Like, they're not doing anything wrong. Fuck you. I have a whole bit on this, so I'm that's coming. It's coming, but I'm not gonna spoil it. I just think that transgender student athletes are just like, it's such a fucking wedge issue. It's such bullshit. Won't legalize marijuana. If Idahoans want legal marijuana, they elected the wrong guys. Go, oh my God. Like, literally every state around you legalized it too, you piece of shit. Like, I don't understand this. There's no reason for this. They're just trying to throw more people in jail. It's just, this is why, like, I would move to Idaho for other reasons, but this thing, like, if I come to your state, Mr. Little Dick, I'm going to smoke weed. I'm going to break the law. You're not going to search me because I know my constitutional rights. I have my guns. So take it up the ass, you fucking remorseless, demonic dildo man. J.B. Pritzker, my man, giant baby Pritzker. My state of Illinois. Everybody, no, I don't think there's a single person in the world that likes this guy. I think he's universally acknowledged as a tyrant, but he did get elected very cleverly by he legalized marijuana. He stayed true to his word on that. I think that was like the first thing he did. So that was good. But then As soon as, like, look at this list here. You see it's just constant. But then he did this, and then he did that, and then he did tier 1 and tier 2. And he has a whole list of, like federal, like, DHS level, like, region 2. It's like they really, I mean, Illinois is one of the worst states for, maybe the worst for COVID regulations. Raised to $15 an hour by 2025. That's even worse than Connecticut. It ain't gonna be worth shit by then. He's very pro-business. He's a billionaire cocksucker. He was the first state. He made Illinois the first state in the Midwest to adopt Tobacco 21, which eventually became nationalized by Thump. Again, total government overreach. Expand voting by making Election Day a state holiday. Didn't do anything. Supporter of net neutrality. Well, that's about as neutral as you can get. He's not going to do anything about that. It's the internet. The whole point of the internet is that it can't really be regulated. So yeah, what a piece of shit. Absolutely one of the worst governors we've ever had, maybe. With the exception of the cannabis legalization. Everybody hates his guts. Up next, we have Eric Holcomb. Indiana, Republican. He looks like he looks like, I don't even know what the fuck is that. That face that looks like an abortion. Let me guess, he's probably anti-abortion. Let's see what he did. What did he do? What did he do? Did he do anything? I know Indiana's a shithole. It might be, like, definitely one of the worst states. Because there's so much crime in Indiana. They have a huge crime problem, huge drug problem, more so than almost any other state except maybe West Virginia, Ohio. But Indiana is just, it's so fucked. It's been destitute for a while. It's like every time you drive through Indiana, you're just like, get me the fuck out of here immediately. The Hoosier state's not looking good. Okay, I don't even want to read what this guy did. Request for higher fuel taxes. Like more taxes. Like he's a pro-tax Republican. It's like how bad can you get when your Republican guy is like raising taxes? You know what I'm saying? I mean, they all do that anyway. They will. Oh, Republicans are actually, the misconception is that they want to lower taxes. No, they want to lower taxes for the rich. But those taxes have got to come from somewhere. So naturally, they just tax the poor. That's all they do. And then they blame Democrats. It's like, they want to raise your taxes. He issued a statewide face mask mandate with criminal penalties. Yeah, but that got but nobody follows that, I don't think. So he was actually a hard line. He was actually, technically, if there's criminal penalties involved, then that's a really hard line for. I mean, wow, what a piece of shit this guy is. Unexpectedly shitty governor, even in spite of all the rest. Kim Reynolds of Iowa. Fetal heartbeat bill, one of the U.S. most restrictive abortion bans, boo. Anti-vaping social media campaign, fuck you. Restored voting rights of 543 felons, okay. Signed an executive order permitting felons to vote in Iowa elections upon completing their sentence. In explaining her belief in second chances, Reynolds referred to her experience 2 decades earlier in which she twice pleaded guilty to DUI and subsequent. So if she hadn't had that experience of getting a DUI, then she wouldn't have even had this sudden change of a conscience. So that goes to show what a weak. But look, you know, it's the right thing to do, and I'll give her props for that. That's a very good thing that felons should be allowed all the same freedoms, because after they serve their sentence, it's over. They should not be punished further. And any law that'll get us to that goal is a step in the right direction. Also, Reynolds signed a bill allowing individuals to purchase and carry handguns without a permit, constitutional carry. That's a good thing. I I'm not going to lie about the positives that some of these governors do. The problem is they are so carefully divided across party lines. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, why can't we just have one consistent politician who's like, I'm just going to do what I want and fuck whatever the party says? Because it's that way by design. You're not going to have a pro-choice, pro-drug, pro-gun, libertarian, anarchist governor. It's not going to happen. She also shortened the opening hours of polling places and reduced the early voting period. Yeah, if you're pro-democracy, obviously this is not your candidate. But she did do some good things. She's definitely better than a lot of Republicans. Laura Kelly, governor of Kansas. Oh, man. Poor Kansas. Poor Kansas. Just a total nightmare. I lived there for a while. It was the biggest mistake of my life, no doubt. I would never go back unless it was for a very brief amount of time. Public gatherings applied to Easter Sunday. Oh, okay. The churches don't like her. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there should be no COVID rules. None, because you can't regulate a virus. You just can't. You can treat the symptoms, which is what we should have done from day fucking one, but they're not going to let it happen. So we have to circumvent the government and find our own cures to this shit. It sounds like she's just a pretty limp governor because she can't. In a Republican majority state, what you find is, like, if you're a Democrat, you're just not going to get anything done. You're not really going to get anything done that if you're constantly facing party opposition, and that's just the way it is. So, really, it looks like Kelly is a very ineffective governor, and she'll probably be replaced by a Republican very soon, I'm guessing. Kentucky. Andy Beshear, Kentucky. Oh, the home of Mitch McConnell. Get the vaccine. Crime. Signed an executive order as governor to completely restore the voter rights. Okay. Again, a very good thing, similar to what the Iowa governor did, where he's restoring felons' rights. And that is a very good thing. That's the right thing to do. It's one of the few things that I think governors can do, is restoring the rights of the incarcerated. Because, hey, they were dealt a shitty hand and you weren't responsible for it, but you can take responsibility. You can be that person to give them a second chance. He would not support an assault weapons ban, but he said he would support a red flag law. Nope. Bam. Get him out of there. Wants to fund the state's pension system. This guy, again, another totally limp dick Democrat that's going to be swiftly replaced. Because if you don't do anything, because there's a reason why people flock to the other party, because they want something done. But if that party is facing opposition, and they say, well, we want this, we want that, but at the end of the day, we're all one nation. It's like, fuck you. Get something done for me, or we're just going to go back to the other party. And then it's just this total abusive relationship, the two-party system. It's back and forth. Daddy hits me. Oh, mommy tells me it's okay. And then he throws her back over to dad and then slaps you again. It's completely abusive. Louisiana. John Bel Edwards, also a Democrat in a deep red state. Let's see if this guy actually manages to get anything passed. Rescinded, so he rescinds executive orders from the predecessor, Bobby Jindal. Jesus. So no protections for businesses who discriminate based on LGBTQ. That's good. Protects LGBT from harassment or job dismissals. That's good. Enacted Medicaid expansion. I mean, it's probably good. Unfortunately, with the system that we have, you have to sometimes deal with the social programs that we have, which are massively underfunded despite the high tax rates, which is crazy. But still underfunded, and it's not getting to the right people. But jobs programs are probably a step in the right direction as well, because you want to get, the goal is to get these people off of welfare. But what you find, especially in the South and in a lot of red states in this country, and in a lot of cities as well, you see people just become reliant on the welfare, and they just expect it, and then they don't ever go to work, and then their health fails, and then they become disabled, and then they actually need that money. So it's just a total waste of life all around. But that's their choice. You can't stop people who want to take advantage of the system from doing that. You're always going to have that. The question is, should we cut it off completely to the point where nobody gets any help? I don't think we should. I think that's unfair to the handicapped and all that shit. And it's such a small part of our funding anyway. It could easily be off balance by cuts in military, taxing corporations. There are a million different things you can do that don't involve punishing the poor and income tax and all this fucking bullshit that we have now. Edwards signed into a bill banning abortion after 15 weeks. Yeah, Democrat my ass. Jesus. But at least he got pay raises for teachers and staff. He did get that passed. So he did do some good, but also not so good. So he did seem like one of those who's willing to make compromises to get his shit passed. Janet Mills, governor of Maine, Dem, expands access to abortion procedures. Good. Express her opposition to decriminalization of small possession. So she's not for decriminalizing drugs. Fuck you. You suck. Total NPC looks like tribal relations. Who gives a fuck? That's not good enough. You're not gonna. We have to replace Columbus Day. It's like, fuck you. You're nobody. Shut up. The Indians don't like you. There are some Indians in Maine apparently. Who knew? Environmental issues. Curb the use of materials that harm the environment. Okay, I guess that's good. Prohibiting plastic bags. Boo. I know they legalized weed in Maine, but I don't think she was responsible for that. Maybe she was. I don't know. She signed a bill banning conversion therapy. Okay, don't really care about that. I think if it's voluntary, then you can't really ban it outright. I mean, you can't. So, but you banned it from being used on minors. Okay, yeah, it is what it is. I ban everything. Like, don't just leave kids out of life. Just, I don't know. I don't know, man. There's no right answer with that. Larry Hogan, Republican governor of Maryland. Okay, he issued a vaccine mandate. So he's one of these. He's one of these vaccine mandate governors. 40% reduction. So he's also something of an environmentalist, which is a very fragile subject. You almost wonder, like, when is it appropriate for the government to take action on this and that? But I guess he's allowed more freedom in his state. He banned bump stocks and banned gun ownership by convicted domestic abusers. Okay. Again, very hard line, requiring firms that have state contracts to promise they will not boycott Israel. Okay, so just like DeSantis, you're not allowed to boycott Israel. That's anti-First Amendment. This is one of the worst governors I've seen so far. Sick leave legislation. But we have sick leave. Not good enough. He vetoed decriminalization of marijuana. He vetoed decriminalization of drugs. He vetoed banning the LGBT panic defense, which we talked about. Charlie Baker, businessman and Republican governor of Massachusetts. He became CEO of Harvard Vanguard Medical Associates. It's not surprising that any guy from Massachusetts is bought out by Big Pharma. I'm gonna assume that's who funds most candidates, actually, which is why you rarely see any of them questioning the science, so-called science. Creating a workforce skills cabinet to formulate a strategy, whatever. Hiring a freeze in the state executive branch. Looks like there's just paragraphs here of shit that he did. Obviously, I'm not going to get into all of it, but this guy looks like he's done a whole bunch of work as governor. Basically funds more housing, science and technology, expand internet access into rural. That's good. Just a lot of funding, a lot of fucking funding that this guy gets. That seems to be the overwhelming majority of his shit is like, how much money can we throw into this and that? I mean, and one could argue that that's what a governor is supposed to do, regardless of what you think about his policies. Greenhouse gas reduction goals. He has a climate plan, somewhat endangered species. Funding for, he's against the opioid crisis. Obviously, it's a big issue. Massachusetts people care a lot about a lot of issues, it looks like, being the most educated state. But I really have no idea how to even judge his performance. So it just seems like a governor, not a real controversial one, from what I've heard. Gretchen Whitmer, hello. Maybe the hottest governor we have. Maybe she's not like whatever. She's good looking. I'm just saying. You don't see that with a lot of governors. Yeah, she did legalize marijuana. That's good. Proposed 6% income tax on businesses that organize as LLCs. Well, isn't the point of an LLC to not get taxed as much? So that's kind of bullshit. Spoken against single-payer healthcare is unrealistic. Blah blah blah. Oh, I'll lower prescription costs. Yeah, sure, okay. Very pro-gun control. So not much to say there. Just total party line bullshit. Timothy Walz, Minnesota. More of just, I speak out against this, I'm for that, blah, blah, blah. But some police reform legislation, obviously after George Floyd happened, is like, you had to do something, or at least present the illusion of doing something. But overall, just another lousy, ineffective governor. Doesn't look like he's doing a whole lot. We got the guy in Massachusetts, it seems like he's doing a lot. The point where we're just like, I'm not even going to read this because I'm too fucking lazy. Mississippi, Tate Reeves. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Here we go. He said there is no COVID-19, obviously a hands-off approach, which I'm for. But then he says there is not systemic racism in America. He declared April Confederate Heritage Month. Okay, taking a time machine back in time, are we? Yeah, I'm not. I mean, like, considering the amount of black people in this state, it just seems like very insulting to be like, I'm a Confederate boy. It's like, you representing the state, and your name is Tate Reeves. And you look like a fucking redhead's pussy. He vetoed criminal justice bills, have expanded parole eligibility. Just a terrible, yeah. I mean, this is exactly what you would expect. He pushed legislation to eliminate the state's personal income tax. Okay, well, that's good. But that's also to cover up a lot of other bullshit. To be like, oh, we don't have to raise wages this way. We can be like, dead minimum. It's just, things work differently down south. Each state has its own political machine, and this guy seems totally aligned with it. That's all I'm going to say. Mike Parson of Missouri. He signed a bill criminalizing abortion. Of course, it's Yeah, that's going to be contentious, but banning local police departments from enforcing federal gun legislation, allowing those that do to be sued and fined $50,000. Okay, so some police control at least, even though it's not enough. He had no plans to restart the low income tax credit, so basically fuck the poor. Medicaid expansion, opposed it, obviously, not surprising. Who did he pardon? He pardoned a couple of pointed guns at protests. Okay. Yeah, alright. But he wouldn't pardon an African American man in prison for triple murder, has maintained his innocence. They believe he's innocent, basically, but it's 1978. It's like this guy's probably an ancient man, and he's not gonna do anything. I mean, yeah, just these insanely long sentences of like life. Like at some point, you gotta be like, unless they're a real danger, you don't need to imprison most of these people. So fuck Parson. Greg Gianforte, businessman, governor of Montana, limited the ability of hospitals and other businesses to require that their staff be vaccinated. So he pulls a DeSantis. Constitutional carry. It's Montana. That's a very good thing. Montana also has legal weed, but I believe that was in spite of his governorship, not because of it. So it's an interesting movement. You see a lot of these states now are just ignoring the governors and trying to legalize weed. Ban sanctuary cities. I don't think there are a whole lot of those in Montana, but whatever. Signed a bill into law that ended same-day voter registration. Again, it's another. I mean, like, who gives a shit? The elections are all fraudulent. It's just another. It's another fake issue designed to divide people. Whoa, signed a bill requiring individuals to undergo gender reassignment surgery in order to change it. What? So basically saying like, oh, you want to change your name, buddy? Oh, you gonna have to chop that dick off. It's like, what a fucking joke, man. Like, come on. Banning transgender athletes from, it's like, come on, fuck off. That's like a joke law. Literally, it's just a fucking joke for anybody to give a shit about this issue. It shouldn't even be an issue. So, typical hack Republican governor. But I will say Montana seems to be one of the coolest states from what I've seen in terms of like overall freedom, and hopefully we don't get a governor who's going to drastically change that. Pete Ricketts, 40th governor of Nebraska, as if anyone wants to live there. Okay, let's see. Most significant action, 3 bills that passed over his veto. So, it looks like ineffective. Who is repealed the state's death penalty, so no more death penalty in Nebraska. That's good. So now illegals can get driver's licenses. Okay, that's good. And they increased the gas tax to pay for repairs to roads and bridges. I'm sure there are better ways you could have paid for roads and bridges, but, gas taxes are always going up, just the way it is. After Ricketts' veto of the death penalty repeal was overridden, capital punishment proponents launched a petition to reverse the legislature's action. Contentious. The death penalty was retained. Oh, fuck. So there is still a death penalty in Nebraska. Never mind. Nebraska fucking sucks. But that's not surprising. This guy's just on a veto spree. Another string of vetoes. 2020 Black Lives Matter protest. He used the phrase, "the problem I have with you people," while talking to a room mostly full of black pastors and black community leaders. But he said you guys, not you people. It was later revealed. So he said you guys. The problem I have with you guys, you people would have definitely been more racist, but you guys, that could mean anything. Uh, eh. It could have been racist. I mean, just accept like everything's racist when you're the only white guy in a room full of black people and you're trying to like get a message across. You're always going to be seen as racist. So just accept it. At least Nebraska, they're not complying with the vaccine requirements. Opposes legal cannabis, blah blah blah. It's dangerous, boss. It's fucking dangerous that the kitty don't get a hold of it. Supports the death penalty. The death penalty seems to be this guy is such a boner for the death penalty. It's hilarious. It's like, dude, haven't most states already figured out that it's totally it's state-sanctioned murder is what it is. I mean, you can make an argument for incarceration, but death, it's like it's just not. It ain't cool. That ain't cool. If you got a personal beef with someone, you should be able to execute them because that's rooted in like actual justice. But for the state to be a middleman in that, I object to it. Sisolak, Nevada. I mean, Nevada's one of the most corrupt states. Goes without saying. Doesn't look like he's doing much of anything. At least not from his article. So I'm going to skip this. Because some governors just don't do anything. Some of them do a lot. Some of them do a little. Some of them do absolutely jack shit and sit on their fat ass and collect their government pension. Chris Sununu, governor of New Hampshire, live free or die state. So he launches a recovery-friendly workplace to provide support for people recovering from substance use disorder. Good. Okay. Vetoed a bill that would have repealed the death penalty. That is not good. Statewide mask mandates. He opposed what he characterized as federal overreach on mandates. I do not support this mandate from Washington. Opposes a 5% tax on dividends and interest income. I would think in order to get elected in New Hampshire, you would have to be very anti-taxes. Vetoed gun control, that's good. Constitutional carry, that's good. Very good. Does not get involved with LGBT, that's good. Opposes legalizing marijuana. He would absolutely veto legislation regardless of what the language looks like. Wow, okay. Little tyrant streak there, but that's to be expected. So very middle of the road, very political, very calculating governor. But they all are. They're all fucking swamp rats. I mean, that's the whole point of this video. Phil Murphy, this is an Obama's boy. This is a New Jersey governor. And this guy has a whole article on the shit that he did. Here's policy proposal, state bank. That supplies loans to state businesses. Interesting idea. I'm not sure if it would work. Pensions. There are no easy answers, but the state has to stand up for its side of the bargain. If the state doesn't, there's no use in having the second paragraph discussion. Okay? It's not really position. They did legalize marijuana. He did. Yeah, I think he did legalize marijuana. Or maybe the guy before him. I don't know. Supports the notion of a $15 minimum wage. Favors guaranteed paid sick leave. Sick leave is one of those where it's like, that's really for middle class assholes like teachers and shit. I don't think they need sick leave. I mean, if you're sick, just stay home, But why should? I mean, it's like let me put it to you this way: if you're gonna get sick leave, don't let it be for certain people. It has to be for everyone. It has to be a constitutional right. But if you're sick, you have to stay home. I mean, you shouldn't go to work sick. Nobody should have to go to work sick, obviously. But if you really need the money, than people often do, and that's the issue. So the argument for sick leave, it is there, and it's a good argument, and I think we should talk about it more. Paternity leave, fuck that. We should not be encouraging people to have kids. That's really fucking stupid and sick and twisted, especially at this point. But sick leave, there's a real argument for. School desegregation. I wasn't aware segregation was even a thing. I guess it is in New Jersey. Affordable housing. So this guy's making moves. He's not a total putz. But I wouldn't want to live in New Jersey anyway. Highest property tax in the country. Really bad politics over there. I mean, probably on par with Illinois. Michelle Grissom, New Mexico governor, Democrat. I believe she is enforcing a strict mask mandate. One of the few states, along with Illinois, to still have a mask mandate. It's ridiculous. I'm not sure if they're following it, but legalize marijuana, good. Join the climate alliance, reduce, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? It's all bullshit. That's all optics. Repealed the anti-abortion law, which is good. Step in the right direction. Wants to ban assault weapons, not good. Strong supporter of Israel, not good. So, middle of the road again. Nothing to talk about there. New Mexico's kind of a bum state. New York, this bitch is a psycho. I mean, just look at her. She's just fucking, she looks like a fucking chipmunk. A crazed rodent. And she wasn't even elected, right? She just took over. Yeah, she was lieutenant governor. So she wasn't technically elected, but she's the one saying the vaccines are God, and you know, she's totally indoctrinated into the cult. Reinstated indoor mask mandate. I mean, just a total. She hasn't really done anything, though, and I'm not going to talk about Cuomo because that's just a disaster. I don't even want to touch that. I wouldn't touch this either, physically or otherwise. Roy Cooper, North Carolina governor, Democrat, requested federal approval for Medicaid coverage. Allow alcohol sales after 10 a.m. on Sundays. Wow. Okay, so now you can buy alcohol on Sundays in North Carolina. Hooray. Expanded the state's revenge porn law from cases involving former lovers to those involving strangers. Okay. That's funny. Because there are just some wild, crazy laws that some states have that no other state would even think of. Cooper signed a bill that would add lessons on what to do when pulled over by law enforcement to the state driver's education curriculum. Well, I would like to see what that says because, you know, I know the cops in North Carolina, dude. If you're driving through North Carolina, watch the fuck out, especially if you're out of state, because they will pull you over if you're going like 5 over the speed. They do not play around with the speed limits. They do not play in North Carolina, just so you know. Shout out. So, but you should know your Fourth Amendment rights regardless. If you got a little bit of weed in the trunk, you know, just don't even play that shit. You should know. Go watch videos if you don't know what to do in that situation, but you should know. Don't ever get tricked by a cop. I had to learn the hard way. Cooper's fellow Appalachian governors liked him co-chair, blah, blah, blah. Fuck you. Declaring a state of emergency, blah, blah, blah. Banned gatherings of over 100 people. I don't think that's... Yeah, it didn't hold up, but... Yeah, well, so at least he got... at least he allowed people to buy alcohol now. So that's... At least he did one cool thing. That's not really cool, but it just needed to be done. This ugly fuck looks like coronavirus is Doug Burnham, governor of North Dakota. Let's see what he did. Not much, it looks like. Banned critical race theory from... Oh my fucking hero. Supports Dakota Access Pipeline. Yeah. Alright, we can skip this turd. Mike DeWine, Republican, Ohio. So this guy looks like he's had a long political career. Either he is with Satan, and he closed down pill mills in Ohio that fueled the opioid epidemic. So at least he's doing something about that. Oh, he was the Attorney General of Ohio. Okay, so he had U.S. Senate. He was a senator. Yeah, he was a senator before governor. Interesting career path. Proposed to allow judges to confiscate firearms for those. Okay, no. Wanted to improve interstate rest areas. Good. He wants to renew the federal assault weapons ban. Wow. Okay, piece of shit. Opposes same-sex marriage. Would have banned... so this guy's a total authoritarian. It would be a mistake for Ohio to say that marijuana for adults is just okay. So this guy is all L's. Literally. Fucking statist piece of shit. Fucking, like, literally a Fed. Literally, like a total Fed. He's got no populist appeal. Ohio's been fucked for a long time. There are some nice parts of Ohio, but overall it's a shit state, so... Kevin Stitt, Oklahoma. Oklahoma is another one of those pullover states. It's like they have like almost no funding for the small towns, so... Pro-life, boo. Capital punishment, boo. What criminal justice reform? He wants to reduce the incarceration. Okay, well, how are you going to do that when you're for... How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? Oh, he signed a Medical Marijuana and Patient Protection Act. So, they have a medical marijuana program in Oklahoma. That they do have, but they're not going to legalize it. Ban critical race theory. Again, just another fake issue. Permitted anyone 21 or older to carry a firearm without obtaining a permit. So, constitutional carry in Oklahoma, it sounds like, or something similar. So that's a positive, but not by much, because it's fucking Oklahoma, and you still got to deal with tornadoes every other day. Doesn't look like... Because a lot of these tribes, they are their own governments on their reservations, so they basically run themselves, and they do their little deals with the feds, shit like that. Massive purchase of hydroxychloroquine. So he actually purchased this drug. Kate Brown, Democrat in Oregon. This bitch is a psycho from what I've heard. She looks psychotic. 2 recall attempts. Wow. Oh, and she has a 43% job approval rating, the lowest of any U.S. government. So people really hate this bitch. I think very strict COVID regulations. Okay, now we got Thomas Wolfe, Pennsylvania. Tom Wolfe. Oh man, some of these people, man, they just look like total cucks. They're all cucks, though. They're all cucks. Eliminated capital stock tax. Legalized medical marijuana. So he's pro-marijuana, but for some reason can't get it fully legalized. I'm not sure. He's against sexual assault on college campuses, blah, blah, blah. Looks like a total dick. Totally inoffensive and ineffective. All right, Dan McKee, Rhode Island. They have very strict COVID policy, I believe. There's like no people there. It's a fucking tiny ass state. Gives a shit. South Carolina. Henry McMaster of South Carolina. Dare the shout will rise again. South Carolina is just a total party. The whole state is just party, party, party. That's all I've been there for. I've never been in South Carolina like legitimate business. It's just always been like get fucked up and stuff. Yeah, we SD, bro. There's just fucking palm trees, bro. We're so fucked up. That's all you do in South Carolina is get fucked up. That's the get fucked up state. It's just a giant college state. Longtime advocate of private education. Well, that figures. What did he think about George Floyd? He pledged to fight Biden to the gates of hell over the vaccine requirement. Good. All right, well. Opposes abortion. Signed a bill into law that would ban most abortions, but a federal judge suspended the law. That's good. That's good. So put him in his place. He vetoed a gas tax bill, so that's good. He wants to do essentially constitutional carry. That's good. You should just fucking do it. Offer to send troops to assist Texas. Okay, gung ho. This sounds exactly like what South Carolina wants. This bitch. Oh my god, no. Oh fuck, I can't even look at her. She's disgusting. She looks like something that appears on your pecker one morning. Oh, Jesus. This bitch is a joke. Let me just say, Kristi Noem might be the worst governor out of all of them. She's part of the... I'm not going to ruin it. I'm not going to ruin the bit, but it's like look at this, for example. Like, crackdown on abortion. Obviously, she's anti-abortion. That's whatever. But this shit, like, meth, we're on it campaign. She released a meth awareness campaign named Meth, We're on It. And she said it was successful in raising... You can't make this shit up, folks. You can't make this shit up. Oh, man. But she's massively anti-trans people. Yeah, you don't have to wear a mask there, but she also did the most unconstitutional thing I think a governor has ever done, possibly. She overturned a ballot initiative, which is the most constitutional way of passing laws in this country, directly from the people. She overturned the proposal, which won by like 60% of legalizing marijuana on a technicality that it included multiple provisions, which is some bullshit that they pulled out of their ass at the last minute. And the South Dakota court upheld her rule. And so you're living under an unconstitutional cunt, basically. Just a gross abuse of power. Enabled discrimination against LGBTQ. It's like allegations involving daughter conflict of interest. Like, the list goes on and on. She wants to build a fence using state funds around her governor's mansion. She's such a joke, man. Fuck Kristi Noem and everything in her DNA. Up next, we have Bill Lee of Tennessee, another businessman. Fuck, God. This guy, I just want to smash his face in with a frying pan. Supports capital punishment. Permitless carry bill, that's good. Emphasize Christian faith. wants to ban abortion. It was blocked by a federal judge. Good. Like, these people should not be allowed to pass certain laws, you know? Lee opposed medical marijuana legislation and decriminalization. We should not decriminalize marijuana. I think that's not good for our state. Oh, but he did allow a sports betting bill to become law without his signature. Interesting. But he opposed it. He allowed it, though. Because, like, we can make money off of this. Hey, we can make money. But you can't make money off of weed? It's like... But that's big pharma talking, I'm sure. They don't want that. They want to get all their chips right before they even consider that. I don't know. I don't know why it's legal in some states but not in others. It doesn't make any sense. He doesn't want to expand the Medicaid program. Okay. Well, whatever. It's like these people are on welfare benefits, and there are a lot of Republican states that like try to shrink them to like the lowest possible amount so that these people will get a job, but they don't. But a lot of them don't. They just live off of that meager amount and start scamming people in other ways. And start a GoFundMe for their prolapsed anus or whatever. Their dog died. Give me money. My dog died. Like, but he's anti mandate for COVID, and that is like, when that's your barrier of freedom, it's so sad that that's the state our country is in. Yeah, this guy's an asshole. Oh, we're in the T's now. Abbott of Texas, he's also fairly popular. He's like the face of oh, get the vaccine, but you don't have to. It's like, no shit, Sherlock. Obviously, he's pro NRA. It's Texas. You can't get elected. Oh, this is funny. Support for ban on sex toys. He unsuccessfully defended Texas's ban on sex toys. He said Texas had a legitimate interest in discouraging prurient interest in autonomous sex. Autonomous sex. Is that what they call it? Autonomous sex. You can't even say the word. And the pursuit of sexual gratification unrelated to procreation. Okay, Adam and Eve, you little fucking bugger. These are the most perverted people. It's like, we have to ban us. The dildos are coming for our children. There's a dildo army at your door. That's funny, man. Conservatives are still like, they're the most, they're the funniest. They're just like, they're great comedy relief, you know. Back to blue, have guns, but also back to blue. You can have your cake and eat it too. Pastor Protection Act, refuse to marry couples if they feel doing so. I mean, how do you enforce that anyway? So you don't need a law for that. You really don't. Oh, fuck immigration. Mexicans suck. Fuck immigration. Fuck immigration. Rejects climate change, as if that even fucking matters. But hey, at least you can buy plastic bags and straws in Texas. Those are always useful. That's a fact. Here in Chicago, you gotta pay extra for a plastic bag. So I just bring my own every time, because I ain't paying no 7 cents to this fucking state, letting them fuck me in that way. That adds up. Continue enforcing marijuana law. Keep throwing people in jail for weed. This guy's really awful. Other than the COVID thing, he's really... Wait, so is Greg Abbott, is he literally... He's in a wheelchair? Oh, is he... He's like an FDR. He's like a fucking wheelchair guy. Oh, shit. I didn't even know that. I thought he was just like... I didn't know he was actually handicapped. He's handicapped, and he supports a system that, like... That... He supports private health insurance price gouging. That's awesome. One of those cases of, like, you know, I've been hurt, so, you know, my constituents has got to hurt harder. Take away the dildos. Spencer Cox, governor of Utah. Is he a Mormon? Oh, he is a Mormon. Increasing speed of vaccine distribution. So he was one of those. Yeah, he's a Trump guy. That's all. That he's boring. He doesn't plays it low key. It's fucking Utah. They all move in one direction in Utah. Wind blows only one way in Utah. Phil Scott, Vermont Republican. I'm guessing a moderate because that's the only way you would get elected there. Because Vermont's probably, it might be the most progressive state. I mean, they banned kratom, so fuck them. Fuck that. But you can smoke weed there, so. Socially liberal and pro-choice, blah, blah, blah. There's a niche for these people, but they're very rare. He signed a bill requiring Vermonters to have health insurance. Oh, fuck. That's not freedom at all. That's not right. You have to pay fucking private health insurance. So that's straight up fascism, boy. He implements a race-based COVID-19 vaccination schedule. Well, that's also... Yeah, this guy's not good. This guy's bad news. Banned bump stocks, expanded background checks, raised the age to 21. And this is like the most pro-gun state, and they also have a shit ton of gun control. No, I think it's not... They have the highest percentage of gun owners in Vermont. I think that's what it is. But they also believe in, like, strict gun control and, like, sort of balance. Clean water funding. So, it's not all bad, but this guy's... But you can do better. You can do worse, but you can do better. Northam, this guy's controversial. Another one. Virginia, Democrat. Wasn't it... No, now to his credit, he did get marijuana legalized in that state. He's an animal welfare guy. Anti-animal abuse. I like that. Bans racial hair discrimination. Okay. Confederate. This was the huge thing. That he was. They should be taken down and moved into museums. Yeah, why not? I'm fine. It's such a bullshit issue. It's like, I'm fine with... It really depends on what the people who run... Because it is a state. Here's the thing. It's not a people's monument. It's a state monument, So they get to decide what happens. You don't get to decide what happens to a fucking statue. You didn't put it there, dummy. So put it in a museum. It's a piece of history. It should be respected, but not glorified because it is, it's racist. It just is. You could say, oh, it's a state right. No, it's not. Imposing a new mandatory minimum sentence of life in prison for those convicted of murdering a police officer. Not good. I mean, if you're going to do that, then you have to do that for everyone. You don't just get to say, oh, it happens to be a cop who is more than likely initiating the violence against you. So therefore, if you kill him out of self-defense, you go to jail for life. Fuck you. Fucking piece of shit, man. Oh, but he opposed the death penalty at least. Oh, now I'm the police reform guy. Oh, okay. Like, what a total two-faced twat. He's only really known for being the guy just like, maybe we should put these statues in a museum. And you're like, fucking Virginia NPC. Jay Inslee, this guy's another progressive. I thought he was doing a good job for a while there until the pandemic hit, and now it's like the progressive hysteria has completely taken over. Jay Inslee signed a bill restoring voting rights to convicted felons. Good, very good. Signed a new capital gains tax into law. It depends. I'm generally not for taxes, but within the system, I think you need to increase taxes on the biggest companies, and it should be a progressive tax system, which we do not have. The problem with that is it gives incentive to raise taxes on small businesses, which I'm not for. But if you're gonna have taxes, then you have to have it progressive, in my mind. Inslee mandated vaccination for state and healthcare. Yep. That's just bad, very bad politics. It divides people. It drives people away to red states. It just fucking does. Because you can have all the legal weed and abortion shit you want, but those are things that people can do on their own. But when the government mandates something, you got to be really careful about that. Wants to reduce carbon emissions. So, he's done some good things, but that state of Washington is very strange. I've never been. I want to go there, but not under these conditions. Under these conditions, I'd rather live in a freer society. Jim Justice is a businessman, governor of West Virginia. He's the wealthiest person in West Virginia, net worth of $1.2 billion. That's pretty much how it works in politics, certainly in Illinois. Of course, you got to support the coal industry, the dying coal industry. That's West Virginia's economy, pretty much. It's just welfare and coal. That's all it is. Wants to see Roe v. Wade overturned, supports guns. It's just exhaustingly consistent on Republican issues. Second only to Alaskan vaccine distribution. Well, that's not surprising because they're owned by Big Pharma. Wants to expand Medicaid. Interesting position. Because I think it's because so many people in West Virginia don't have good jobs and are on welfare, and it's just gotten to the point where you're starting to see the reverse, where you see these sort of red welfare states emerging because there simply isn't enough of it. Because Tennessee has Nashville, South Carolina has parties. Most states have an economy, at least some sort of an economy, but West Virginia is so reliant on big farm, on opiates and coal, and they don't have a very big playbook. So I feel for them, man. I hope they dig themselves out of this giant-sized hole. Tony Evers, man, what can I say? Total cuck of the worst state, in my opinion, that I've been to is Wisconsin. It's just so fucking boring and miserable and drunk, and you can't smoke weed, and property taxes are through the roof. I think they might actually be worse than Illinois, but correct me if I'm wrong. But taxes are really bad there. Including income tax, by the way, is ridiculously high. It's 7% or something like that. As long as I'm governor, I will veto legislation that turns back the... So yeah, he's pro-abortion, which is good. Wants gun control. You might actually get it because Wisconsin is a purple state. It's never really been one or the other. It's a very mixed sort of state. Wisconsin has some of the nation's worst roads. I can confirm that is absolutely true. It's absolutely abysmal roads there. He proposes legalizing recreational marijuana. That's good, but it's probably not going to get done for a while. Because Republicans actually still run the state. They still run the state by far. And I mean the judges and the main judicial system and the legislature are run by Republicans. You got Ron Johnson, who's a parasite, maybe the worst senator, which is really saying something. Total extremist. And Evers is just kind of monkey in the middle. He can't really do anything. He's an ineffective representative for sure. Mark Gordon, Wyoming. Wyoming is definitely one of the... it's the lowest population state, so it's got that going for it. There's not and it's very peaceful. I've heard it's like, I've never been, but I'd consider moving there just for the Zen level of peace. Unfortunately, now like that's gonna, so a state like this and Idaho, the fact that so many people want to move there, but like they don't have legal weed, I almost feel like that's like designed as a deterrent to keep the normies out, to keep like these fucking liberals, which is a good thing strategically. I'm gonna break the law if I live there, but I understand if you're a state, you got to have certain measures in place to keep the populations at bay, right? And a lot of land ownership out there too, like a lot of just people who own land who aren't fucking Warren Buffett or Bill Gates or whatever. So it's a whole lot of nothing, and you got to be prepared for that. But it's not like Alaska, but Alaska, you're talking like, whew, that shit is rough, man. I don't know if I could live in Alaska. Maybe I might try it out a few months, but that shit is rough, man. It's expensive as fuck. It's cold.